Jesse Palmer, ESPN college football analyst and host of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, former NFL quarterback. He's teaming up with Kirk Cousins. You might have seen the commercials. And it's Great Clips College Football Playoff Campaign, new nationwide haircut promotion. Great Clips for $9.99. Get a haircut coupon. You can go to greatclips.com/football through January 16th. And then visit any participating Great Clips salon through January 23rd to take advantage of this offer as we make way for Jesse Palmer. Speaking of hair, how much attention did you give your hair when you were playing football?
Not a lot because I'm a sweater. I mean, two handoffs into the game, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but the national anthem, you're up there doing, pat and goes and all those things. You didn't.
Pat and go, you have the helmet on. National anthem, the camera was not on me. I would try to stand as close to the head coach as I could, or the star, just to try to get in the 3 shot. But generally, I was not in focus for that.
Yeah, I could see the vanity there. Who does it, Paulie?
Sean McVay does his hair.
Oh, Sean McVay. Yeah, but he's a coach. So coaches, Matt LaFleur, let's be honest. I mean, those dudes they have probably getting their eyebrows waxed.
You listen, from a guy that used to do it. I mean, I made some mistakes down in Gainesville, Florida, by putting hair product in before a game. Like, the worst thing ever is to be dropping back on 3rd and 15 against an elite SEC pass rush, and you have pomade in your eye. As you're trying to figure out, what's the safety doing? What hash is he on? Where am I looking? Spurrier's yelling at you over on the sideline. Like, I ran into that problem a few times. So I learned my lesson. I think by the time I got to New York, there was no more hair product before games.
If I would have told you before the season started, Alabama or Georgia was not going to be in, Ohio State's not going to be advancing, and Alabama as well. Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama wouldn't be in the Final Four. You would have said what?
It's what's happening now in college football. I think this is the first time in the college football playoff era that those teams you just mentioned, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Clemson, not one of them are in the playoff. And I got to say, I just from a fan standpoint, I kind of like the new blood thing. I know NIL and the portal, that's changed everything, and this is the new normal moving forward. But I think Indiana is a great example, and obviously Ole Miss, Miami, these are all great examples of programs that can completely flip very, very quickly. Rosters change on a dime, and teams get competitive really, really fast. And I think you're seeing a great example of that in this year's playoff.
But do you think this is the norm, or this an aberration?
I think it's the norm moving forward. I still think the SEC is the best conference in college football, top to bottom. I think it's still the best top to bottom, but not necessarily national championship every single year like we were used to for all those years. Teams no longer can stockpile talent and 5-star recruits the way they used to at Georgia and Alabama and LSU and some of these programs. Today, if you're not on the field early in your career, you're out. You're in the portal, and you're getting paid more money to go play somewhere else. And so there's more discrepancy. There's more parity from a roster standpoint. Teams just simply aren't as deep anymore. And I mean, at the start of the year, if you'd said to me, "Hey, Indiana's going to beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl," I would have been like, "Okay." I mean, I could see that. If you'd said it would be 35-3 or whatever it was, I would have said, "Whoa, that seems a bit aggressive." But there's just such a well-coached team with so much talent, and this has definitely been eye-opening, I think, for a lot of fans watching this.
All right, handicap Ole Miss and Miami, because I misjudged Miami. I didn't think they could be as physical as they were. That stood out. It was glaring, and I just never thought that I would see that.
I'm with you on that. I think Miami could win the whole thing based on that physicality you're talking about. I think in this era of college football, with so much tempo and air raid and everybody's going fast and spreading the ball around, I still think games are won and lost in the trenches. And the way Miami's playing right now, especially in the playoff, that's where they're dominating people. I mean, that D line right now is ruthless. People can't block Ruben Bain. People
Yeah.
can't block Mesidor. They've got 12 sacks in 2 playoff games. And then offensively, they're running the football with Mark Fletcher, a big physical back who's going to play in the NFL. They got an outstanding offensive line. They're just staying on the field and they're running it down people's throats. Ole Miss is supremely talented, no question. And Trinidad Chambliss, to me, especially after that Georgia game, he's remarkable. And we called it their first playoff game against Tulane. They've got so many playmakers, and they don't have a ton of weaknesses, and they can run the ball too. But that physicality is going to get put to the test. And Ole Miss better be able to run the ball with Keywan Lacey against Miami and avoid third and longs. Otherwise, it could be a really long day for Trinidad Chambliss.
What did Oregon learn from the first matchup with Indiana?
They got to be able to run the ball. I think that's where they got in trouble that first time. And that's ultimately really the identity of Oregon's offense. I know that Dante Moore gets a lot of credit and a lot of the shine, and people are talking about him potentially being the first pick in next year's NFL draft if he decides to come out. But when you watch Oregon play, it still comes down to their ability to be physical and run the football. Dan Lanning has built that offensive line. They look like an NFL O-line. They're really, really big. That was a big question mark coming into the year. They had to replace 4 starters. They went to the portal and they brought in some big NFL bodies, and they've got a deep stable of backs that are also very, very big. You'll see 4 or 5 different guys playing this game against Indiana. The problem in the first game is they weren't able to run it successfully, and it got them in trouble. Indiana is excellent at stopping the run on defense, and on third down, they've got a very exotic pressure package that gives people fits, and they were living in Oregon's backfield in those situations. If Oregon can't run the ball more effectively, I don't think Oregon can beat Indiana.
Talking to Jesse Palmer, ESPN college football analyst, and of course, the Bachelor and Bachelorette host. And he pairs with Kirk Cousins for a Great Clips commercial. GreatClips.com/football now through January 16th. Claim a haircut coupon, $9.99 there. How was it working with Kirk Cousins?
It was amazing. We shared a lot of laughs in the chair getting our haircuts. And we were talking about the Manning Passing Academy back in the day. When he was at Michigan State playing, he was there. And I was there as a counselor at the camp. I used to work the camp for a couple of years. And so kind of getting to know him there, we're catching up since then. And then we had this really interesting, deep conversation about the future of pass rush in football. Kirk wanted to talk about where he sees the future in that going, and the different D coordinators that he finds really hard to game plan for. We had a very good X's and O's session during our Great Clip shoot.
Okay, wait a minute. So what's he saying? What is the future of the pass rush?
It's the exotic radar look. It's the one where everybody lines up and you don't know.
Wait, you just gave us a new term, the exotic radar look.
Well, a lot of people know what radar is. Like, radar is like the Ravens used to do radar when Ray Lewis was there and
Okay.
Terrell Suggs and all those guys. And it was like Rex Ryan and Marvin Lewis. You had no idea who was blitzing, who was in a 3-point stance. Guys were dropping out, guys were rushing, and you almost had to guess on offense. You just weren't sure what happened. Oddly enough, my rookie season, probably the worst game I've ever played in my life. It was the 4th game of the preseason against that exact defense from the Ravens, and I had no idea where the pressure was coming from. I got sacked, fumbled, everything was going wrong. That defense that a lot of people are doing now, we both think that's going to be the future, not just in the NFL, but you're going to start seeing, I think, more college programs doing that as well.
What's that feeling like? Okay, you go to the line of scrimmage, and you're supposed to show confidence and composure and poise, and you have no idea what's going on.
No. I remember literally going to the line of scrimmage every single time I dropped back to pass. I had no idea if I was protected or not. Not saying I wasn't sure if the guys up front could block their man. I knew they could do that. What I didn't know, though, was, hey, if the Sam linebacker blitzes, do I have to hit this fullback in the flat, or can I hold on to it because he's going to get picked up and I can try to find a receiver on a 15-yard in route? And, usually when you know the game plan and you understand defense very well, you might have 1 or 2 snaps like that a game where you're just not sure what's about to happen. I literally dropped back 20 times, clueless of what was happening. And Yeah, needless to say, that was that was a game I'll never forget. That was unique.
And it was a preseason game. It's not even a regular season game, and they're
No,
coming after you.
we just got done playing Tom Coughlin in Jacksonville the week before, and they just played vanilla defense the entire game. They played cover three and man to man and cover two, and I lit it up. I had this big day, and I remember throwing it all over the place. I called my dad after that game, and I said, Dad, I don't think the NFL is that hard. Honestly, I really don't. Like, I think the SEC was harder than playing defenses. It's so easy. They just line up. Very next week, a preseason game. It was exotic radar blitz fest, and I had zero clue. I called my dad after that game. I took everything back. Everything.
I mentioned this on the show yesterday. Indiana's a great story, and Fernando Mendoza is by proxy a great story as well. I just don't know if we're going to get caught up. I don't know how good he is. I know he's going to be the number one pick, but like Dante Moore, somebody's going to be the second quarterback drafted. And I'm not sure if these are great prospects, good potential to be very good. So can you handicap these two quarterbacks?
Well, it's not a sure thing. I would agree with that. I'm trying to think back in the 19 years I've been covering college football. I can probably count on one hand how many guys I knew coming out I thought were going to be good. Like, I remember I knew Andrew Luck was going to be good. I knew that. I knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be good. I felt good about that.
Cam?
Yeah, Cam. You knew he was just from a physical standpoint, a stature standpoint, he was going to be a problem. I think with Fernando, like I'm a big fan of his, and it's more, I think more because of the cerebral and just how he processes things. I know he's not an elite athlete. His mobility has gotten better throughout his career. He makes really, really good decisions, and he's stepped up. He's had some Heisman moments. He's had some moments against good defenses this year where he's really made big plays in big moments. You know, Dante Moore, this is really the only year you've ever seen Dante Moore play. He had 5 starts at UCLA as a true freshman 2 years ago. He sat last year behind Dylan Gabriel watching him at Oregon. And then this year you've gotten to watch him. He's a very natural passer. There's a lot you like there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, listen, the Raiders are sitting right now at number 1, and you've got Brock Bowers on offense, Ashton Genty, you know, whichever of those two guys, if that's where they end up, you know, it's a porous offensive line. There's a lot of work there to be done. It'll be interesting. We'll overanalyze this to death over the next several months before the draft. But I think they're both really good prospects. I think Ty Simpson's also a really good prospect, but I don't think there is a surefire first overall pick necessarily in terms of one of those guys who's astronomically better than the other.
Great to catch up with you. Good luck, man. Good luck with the 2-year-old there and the campaign.
You appreciate it, brother. We'll see you.
Jesse Palmer. All right. Bachelor, bachelorette, and not afraid to put a little pomade in his hair before a football game.